So up to now, we've been talking about loops, and we've had one loop going where we might continue to do code over and over again until we ask our user or set a flag asking our user, do you want to play again? And we set a flag that says no, which causes our condition of our while loop to end, and we leave the program. Well, now we're learning about making that a little bit more advanced, and we're going to see that we can nest loops inside of loops. And this is a flow chart to give you a visual of how that might happen. And what we're doing here is, in this particular flow chart, the idea here is that we are going to loop through, we're going to have what we call an outer loop. So the big loop is testing to see if we want to enter in more students. And then the loop inside of the big loop is this loop that's going to put in 3 scores. So the way that it works, let's just walk through the code and see how it works. So the first thing, we're just doing our thumb test and following the data lines, and it's asking us for more students, and we're going to assume that the answer to that is yes, we have a student that we want to put in. So we follow the data line to yes, and as long as our counter is less than 3, so assumably we've set our counter to 0. So yes, the counter's 0. And so we're going to input some test scores. We're going to accumulate some test scores. We'll increase our counter by 1. So now counter is equal to 1. We said it was 0 to start with. So we're caught in this loop. Counter is less than 3. Yes, it's currently 1. So we'll continue to do this code again. We're looping through this inner loop until it's satisfied. Counter is now 2, which is still less than 3, so we're going to go through the loop one more time. Now counter gets increased by 1. Counter is now 3, which is not less than 3, so we've completed our loop, our inner loop. The answer to this is no. So now that we're finished with this inner loop, we want to output our total scores that we've been accumulating, print the average perhaps. So whatever we need to do to conclude this particular loop. And then we get sent back to the beginning of our outer loop, our original loop, and says, do we want put any more students? If we said yes, then we will go through this inner loop again until we've satisfied the 3 iterations and then be asked again. So we have 2 loops going on, and then as soon as we say no, that ends the outer loop and the program stops. So this idea of nesting loops is very similar to our order of operations, where we looked at the inner parentheses and worked our way outward. It's the same concept, where we'll have an outer loop that will continue to loop over and over again until its condition is satisfied. But within that loop, we might have a second loop which will start and end within the original loop. So we'll never be able to start an inner loop and have it end outside of the big loop. It always will end inside. It'll finish its 3 iterations, and then we can be taken back to the outer loop to ask that condition again. So we'll see some examples in Python of this in action, but I was hoping that this animation would give you a visual of this inner loop and how it works and starts and finishes within the confines of the outer loop, which can continue to loop over and over again as well.